Hello, guys, and welcome back to another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. And today, the topic came to me a couple of days ago, and I have been having reoccurring topic coming up with clients in my membership, just myself coming across this. And I thought, okay, I guess this is something that we need to talk about. And I think it is very important and valuable that we start opening up this topic. And also, because this is also a little bit of a taboo topic, not only that, it is a topic that we sometimes feel a little bit shy talking about. And I think it is important because it all has to do with your feminine power and your feminine beauty and what helps you unlock so many levels of your life. So what I want to start talking about is becoming more sexually attracted to yourself and why that is so incredibly important. Having that attraction towards yourself unlocks so many doors and things. And as I say that, I want you to start thinking about, okay, why would that be? If you've listened to previous podcasts, you will start understanding a little bit about how all of this works, how your energetic field works, how self-love, self-image healing, all of these things are at the root of you achieving the life that you desire, you following your soul path, soul pull, you creating and having control over literally everything around you. And this came to me in like a jokey manner when I was thinking about this topic. We all know sex sells, right? So if you're if you're trying to embody that energy and feel that energy in yourself, you are going to become a magnet. It is just inevitable. And a magnet for so many things. So I want you to think about what is one of the things that you want most right now. And that could be a better relationship, more financial gain, more success, more friendships, you name it, think about it. And I want you to start thinking as we're going through this, a better body. I want you to think about as we're going through this podcast, how being sexually attracted to yourself is going to change that for you. So if you have listened to some of my previous podcasts, you will understand a little bit about how when you start thinking about yourself in a certain way, that is what starts broadcasting out in your energetic field. And basically your thoughts dictate the world around you, kind of. That's kind of how it works. So whatever you think has an energetic output, and that energetic output reflects on your body, on your world, on everything around you. And that is also part of what we call reflections. So your body responds to your thoughts, your environment responds to your thoughts, the people around you respond to your thoughts. And all of this is to get you into a better balance or get you achieving more in your life. And so this is why I thought this was such an important topic, because I don't know about you, but in the past, I definitely struggled a lot with, up until recently, relationships and feeling desired and feeling like, I was enough, like I was good enough, like like a guy wanted to be with me, right? And I linked a lot of my value to how a guy viewed me or if a guy desired me. And so it actually became extremely challenging in my most recent relationship where my partner would reject me a lot of the time. And this made me question my desirability. It made me question the way that I looked. It made me question a lot of things about my self-image. Right? It made me question all of these things. Like, am I not good looking enough? Am I not valuable enough? Am I not worthy? Is someone out there better than me? So this obviously poses a problem, because if that's what you're programming in your energetic field, that doesn't only reflect in your relationships and not having that intimacy, that connection, that, what you desire, but it also shows you that this is going to be reflecting out in different areas of your life. So for example, if you're experiencing this in your relationship or anything along those lines in your relationship right now, I want you to ask yourself, do I feel that way in another area of my life? So for example, do you feel undesirable for the people that you work with or work for? Do you feel like people don't want your products if you have a business? Do you feel like people don't want your help, like friends don't want to hang out with you? Like, think of all of these areas that we mentioned in the beginning and think, do I feel undesirable in those areas? Do I feel like certain areas of my life are not sexy? Think about all of this. And then this is how this translates to you as well. If you don't feel it about yourself, you're going to have that reflect out on you. And that's the crazy thing. When it comes to relationships, we often think that when we enter a relationship, we are going to have the other half give us what we are missing. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. Our partners are the most reflective, which means wherever we are feeling holes in our energetic field or where we're not rooted to how we feel about ourselves, that is exactly where your partner is going to poke holes in. So, for example, if you are feeling unconfident or being overly critical of myself, this is me outing myself because this literally happened to me. Your partner is not going to be the one that's supporting you. Your partner is going to be pointing out exactly where you're feeling critical of yourself, that you have something that you need to balance out. Why? Because it's their role to get you to start facing that hole or that energetic imbalance, to make you feel, to get you to level up, to get you to see your value, so that when that person is reflecting that back at you, you get to a point where you're like, but that's not true. And you start standing up for yourself and you start believing the opposite. This is a little bit more advanced understanding, but this is literally only scratching the surface of how all of this works. But this is how it works. Basically, your partner, and I'm sure you recognize, I want you to think about situations where you've had a partner, if you have a partner, where you had a tough day, you were struggling, and you were being hard on yourself, and you come home and you expect your other half to give you that support and that understanding and that help, right? But instead, what do? They lay on top of it. Like, hey, what are we having for dinner? Oh, why aren't things ready enough? They start like questioning even like how well you're doing things. Oh, babe, maybe you should do more of this or this. Or I don't really like the way that you're dressed lately. Or, they'll just start like mentioning these little things. I can't even think of some of the things. And it will just pile on and it will make you even more undesirable, or will make you feel even more self-critical. And that is because you have to get to a point where you start saying enough is enough and I don't view myself that way. This is not the truth. Because the moment you start proving to yourself that the opposite is true, that is when things start to shift. And the only way that things start to shift is if you start believing it about yourself. That is the only way. And that is what this whole system is built upon. It's about you starting to connect with your core and seeing your value, seeing your worth at its depth. And when you can do that, you become unstoppable. So taking it back to that being sexually attracted to yourself and finding yourself incredibly overly finding yourself the most attractive woman there is out there. How do you think that is going to help? I want you to think about it for a second, but I'm going to tell you, of course. Think about it. When you find yourself irresistible and you start seeing how incredibly attractive you are, and you literally, but you have to believe it. You can't just tell yourself this thing in the mirror, I'm so sexy, I'm so sexy, I'm so sexy. You have to believe it. You have to see the traits, the things that you do, your body, the way that you move, the characteristics that you have, the smile you have, the funny, cute little laugh that you have, the little quirks, every little thing about you, all the little details about your body. You have to see how they make you incredibly attractive, incredibly sexually attractive. And then I want you to root to that. I want you to start seeing how you are the most desirable woman out there. And that is because you are you and I am me. We all are the most desirable woman out there. But the thing that you need to root to is why you are the most desirable of them all. And I'll do the same thing. As long as you believe it, the rest of the world is going to see it the exact same way. I just warn you, you might be swarmed with lots of men. and women, who knows? No, I'm joking. If you do it right, maybe. But this is so powerful because a lot of the time, especially when it comes to our self-image, we are extremely hard on ourselves and we don't see our value. We don't see our sexiness. We don't see the power that we hold. And it is extremely important to see that, because in the moment that you are intimate with your partner or having a moment with your partner, that is probably where you're going to have a lot of reflective moments, a lot of moments where you start questioning your femininity, your power, your beauty, because you are there opening yourself up completely to someone else. This is going to test completely how you feel about yourself, if you feel in your power, if you feel beautiful. And if you unlock and see how you are that on your own, your partner has no other choice but to see that in you as well. And that is going to unlock so many things, because it's going to make you feel even more confident when that gets confirmed. You have so much more power and control than you think that you do. And when you start rooting to how you're the most sexy, the most beautiful, think about a woman that carries herself like that. You immediately want to have a piece of that energy, right? We love that energy because it is so enticing. And so when that energy is enticing, that attracts so many other things in your life. It is extremely magnetic. Being feminine and seeing yourself as desirable is extremely magnetic. And not only when you are intimate with your partner or when you are close with your partner, but also when it comes to your success. Because if you see yourself, your body, your quirks, everything that you are as attractive and sexy, well, everybody else is going to see that. And who doesn't want to have a piece of whatever that is, right? And when you have that going on for you, everybody's going to want to be in that energy, which means you will probably have more success in your career, financially, relationships, friendships, and not in a way of like, look at me, I'm so arrogant type of way. No, you have to fully root to it and see the truth in why that is. And this has immense power in so many ways, because what this also does, it helps you root to your value and your beauty and your power. And when we look at the struggles that we face most in life and the biggest lessons that we need to learn, they all come down to self-love and self-image healing. And when we can see our body and our being as we are, as extremely sexy and attractive, well, it's almost difficult to not like something about that, right? And so we start rooting to our qualities even more. And when we root to our qualities and we see the value and the attractiveness of our qualities, even the things that we don't like about ourselves, then other people will also see those quirks, those things that you quote unquote don't like about yourself as attractive things. So that is why it is so extremely important to plug that in, to start believing that about yourself. Because when we rely on someone else outside of us to give us that validation, then we don't fully root to it ourselves. We are looking outside of us to get that power, to connect with that power. And the longer you do that, the longer you're going to disconnect from how you feel internally about yourself. And I want to plug in a few of the laws of the universe when it comes to this as well. When you look at it, and whether you be struggling in your relationship or financially or in your career or in your family or whatever, mentally, whatever area of life you are struggling with, when you focus on how unattractive those areas of your life are and how attractive you are in those areas of life, like seeing I'm not good at this, I don't do enough. Like these are all things that we like. Think of the things that you think are unattractive about yourself. And the moment things don't work the way that you want them to work, or you don't see how things are working out for you, you start rooting to those unattractive aspects of yourself, because you start questioning, well, if you're like me, at least you start questioning, how you are not capable, right? How you are not doing the things that need to be done. How you are not attractive, and that is why these things are happening to you. And I want you to see also, not only look at the external, but look at the internal traits about yourself, right? Because when you think of someone that you are attracted to, it also has to do with their qualities: ambitious, drive, artistic, creative, adventurous. Those are all attractive and sexy traits, right? So well, for me, they are, at least. Maybe for you, some things are a little different. But if you don't see that you have those traits within yourself and you can't see them anywhere, and according to the law of all, you hold all of those traits, so you just need to find where you hold those traits. If you don't see those, then other people are not going to see them either. You need to root to where you are sexy and attractive and why, and find and collect proof of why that is, because then other people are going to see the exact same thing in you. That is how this works. And think about how that translates in all other areas of life. This is going to help you in the financial area of life. This is going to help you in your career. This is going to help you in your relationship area of life, because who doesn't want to be around that energy? But when we focus on things not working out and seeing the unattractive aspects of everything, then we are going to get more of that. When we focus on having all of that, then we are going to get more of that. So let's take the example of not having the attraction and sexiness in your relationship, right? Because I know that all too well, that struggle. Let's look at that. And then if you keep focusing on how unsexy and how unattractive you are and how unattractive your life is, let's also plug in your life, and you focus only on that, then you're going to get more of that unattractiveness, because that's how the universe works. It's like a magnet. The more you focus on something, the bigger it gets. And I'm sure you know that feeling of like, that's like Murphy's Law, right? The more you focus on things going wrong, the more you get things going wrong. Law of focus. The more you focus on things working out, the more things work out. So if we focus on how sexy and attractive we are, we're gonna get more of that sexy attractiveness in our life, in our relationship, in our career, everything. And that is going to start shifting so many things. Another part of that, so in your relationship, again, law of focus, if you're focusing on that not being there, it's not gonna be there. If you focus on it being there, it's going to be there. And the more that you see it within yourself, you don't need it from the other person anymore. You don't need that validation that you are sexy and attractive anymore, because you know in your core that you are. And then the moment you don't need it anymore, you get more of it. Law of opposing forces. The more you want something, the more you push it away. But if you can give it to yourself, then what happens? You don't need it anymore, so you're gonna get it anyways. That moment where you don't want to be in a relationship and suddenly all these men start lining up to date you. But the moment you are looking for a relationship, they don't show up. Or the moment you don't need a new career or you don't need something, it shows up immediately. But the moment that you want it, you can't seem to grab it. That is exactly how that works. And how that works is that you have to give it to yourself. And that works with everything. So to get what you desire, you need to give it to yourself. To get the attraction, the passion, the love, to see the sexiness that you want, the desire that you want, you need to desire yourself first. So you need to start seeing how amazing and sexy you are. And I can already hear a lot of you guys thinking, but Manouk, how can I do that? I don't find myself sexy or attractive. Well, first of all, that is the problem. And second of all, you are. Because you are, like, there is no way that you're not. If you can see it in somebody else, that means you hold the same thing. Otherwise, you would not be able to observe it. And I can guarantee you, there are so many things about you that makes you incredibly sexy and attractive. And I know that in some area of life or one moment in your life, you feel that sexiness. And if you don't feel it, You know when you wear something specific, whether it be a cute outfit, whether it be lingerie, whether it be a bikini, whether it be your pajamas, whether it be nothing at all, there is a moment where you feel your sexiest. There is a moment where you feel that within yourself. Because also the only way that your partner can make you feel that way is because you hold that energy and that feeling in yourself. He is not making you feel that way. He's just unlocking, or she is just unlocking that feeling within you that opens that energy up. That is what it is. So we often rely on someone else to unlock that when we hold the key to unlocking that. And it's just because we feel like we can only see it through someone else's eyes, or we need that validation from the outside world. And believe me, more now than ever is it hard because of all the social media, all the comparisons out there, everything out there. But that's why you are unique. You need to focus on your uniqueness and that making you sexy and that making you desirable. Maybe you're super nurturing. Maybe you're extremely funny. Maybe you have a cute smile. Maybe you're so talented and that makes you incredibly sexy. Maybe you are very good at dressing in a fashionable way, which makes you extremely sexy. Maybe you are the most incredible mother, which makes you extremely sexy. When you can look at what it is that makes you sexy and attractive and root to that and feel that within yourself and constantly see the things that make you that way, that is what's going to start programming in your system. And I promise you, you have so much power. You don't even know how much it is. And that's why I want to give you this, because we often feel like we need the other person or the other partner to shift or do something to get a different result. But in reality, that's not the case. You hold all of the power. And when you start realizing how powerful you are in that manner and how much you can start shifting, you're just going to see the creator power that you hold and that you have. And this, again, also links back to the body, because any insecurities that you feel about yourself, any doubt that you feel about yourself is going to show up in your body eventually, or is already showing up in your body eventually. So when you start shifting this internal belief system about yourself, and whether that be standing in the mirror and checking yourself out and listing all the things that make you incredibly sexy, whether that be it every day and rooting to it and remembering it, and then starting to notice how the outside world starts complimenting you the exact same way that you compliment yourself, that is when you start shifting all of this stuff. And then you can start seeing even in the things, because that's an incredible superpower, to be able to see the things that you don't like as being sexy and attractive. When you can start shifting shifting and moving that belief system to the opposite and seeing the power in the things that you don't like, that is when you hold full control, because that means you can shift any perspective from a negative to a positive. And the moment you do that and you feel and see that, that is when you hack so many other areas of your life. So finding yourself sexy and attractive holds so much power in so many ways. And I'm sure you can identify with this, especially nowadays, especially in the day and age. Maybe not all of us. I mean, I grew up without any Instagram and Facebook was just starting. But especially nowadays, we look for external validation. We look for people to give us the likes, the comments, the views, to give us that feeling that we are valuable and that we are deserving. And if it's not from people online, it's from people outside of ourselves. Why do you want the raise? A lot of the time it's for recognition. It doesn't have to do with financial gain. Why do you want to do extra tasks for your boss? Not because you're going to get that raise, but because you want validation. You want to be seen. You want to be heard. You want to be seen as valuable. Why do you put in extra work in certain areas when you know it's not going to pay off financially or in any other way, it's because you need that external validation, right? Why do we often do things for other people? It's because we're selfish beings at our core, and that's okay. But it's because somewhere we want to be recognized for the things that we are doing. But when you can give yourself that recognition, you don't need that external validation anymore. And when you don't need that external validation anymore, you hold all the power. And not only that, you will get all that external validation. And that is what we need to learn. That is something that is it's actually simple when you think about it. But when you don't have the right tools to shift that and truly understand where the shift needs to come from, when you don't have the right tools to do that, it becomes very difficult. And we keep like banging our head against the wall because it's like, yeah, but I've been doing all of this activity and it's not working. There are so many levels and layers to this, but by already starting to recognize how this aspect and doing this exercise is going to change so much for you. I want you to try this out. Start seeing how you are the most attractive, the most sexually attractive woman out there and why you are that, and start literally having that attraction towards yourself and start noticing how things start to change and shift. And that brings me back to something we spoke about in a previous podcast again. Think about a moment where you feel your most capable, your most sexiest, and tap into that energy. These things are going to change so much. And this is literally only the tip of the iceberg of what you can start achieving with these tools. There are so many more ways that we can dive into that are going to get you to shift the way that you view yourself and your energetic field, to get you attracting so much more into your life than you think. And that is one of the things that I truly want you to understand, is that you hold the power to create whatever you desire. You just need the right ingredients and the right tools to start shifting this. And you don't need anybody else but yourself to achieve everything that you desire in your life. But to do that, you need to shift internally. You can't expect other people to give you the validation, the desire, everything that you're asking for if you don't believe it in your core yourself. And that is why, if you maybe look at, for me, in my previous dating experiences up until a couple of years ago, where I was constantly faced with rejection, that was because I was not seeing my own value. I was constantly questioning. I was constantly thinking there was someone better out there than me. And if that is what I believe, then that is what they're going to believe. And you're going to be challenged with that and situations where you're going to have partners, boyfriends, dating situations where guys are going to ghost you or not desire you or show you these things until you start rooting to your own value without needing that validation from the outside. Actually, look at these things happening and start questioning, where am I viewing myself like this? Because that is the only reason it is showing up for you. The only reason it is showing up for you is because you need to start shifting that internal belief system. And it's literally to shift you out of that belief system and to show you that you hold all the cards. You do. And the moment you realize that, that is when everything will start to change. And you don't even know how powerful you are. This is just a little sprinkle of what you can start doing. And if you are ready to take these things to the next level, you can always reach out to me at info@thenukesgoddessacademy.com. Ask any questions about this. If you want to dive deeper into these topics, also let me know, because I know how much this can start to unlock in so many ways. There is no need to be, I don't know how to say this. You don't need someone else to shift and change your reality. You don't need the other person to shift and change. All you need to do is realize your own true power and shift and change yourself. and watch how much control you have. In some ways, we 100% live in a simulation. It is all about being able to hack the game of life. And when you look at it like that, like just reprogramming your character to start shifting their belief systems, that is what's going to get you where you want to be. That is why it is so important to start seeing these things within yourself. That is why I actually have a visualization in the free resources that I would recommend you go do, where you connect with your truest, highest version of yourself. Because I want you to right now in this podcast, while you're listening, think of the version of yourself that you aspire to be, right? Like think of your best realized version of yourself. And I'm sure you have an image, because I know I do. I can help you. Mine wears a white suit, Louboutins, I never know if I'm saying that right, and is wearing those, gold jewelry, like badass, badass business babe, but also like not afraid of anything. She knows what's up. Red lipstick, gold jewelry. I want you to think, how does your version, she's fit, literally that is my best realized version of myself. Has her shit together. Knows she's fucking hot. Know she's like the bee's knees. The reason you can imagine whatever comes up in your mind is because that is the version of you that you can tap into. That is that sexy version of you that is you. It's literally you. You are just doubting yourself for not stepping into that energy. And I want you to start challenging you as of today to start connecting with that energy of yourself, because you are that. You have that within you. And the moment you start embodying that energy, things are going to start shifting. That is one of the reasons I also like to get dressed up, to do my makeup in the morning, because it's a self-care moment for myself, to get me tapping into that energy, to get me feeling that way about myself, because that energy is extremely magnetic. It is the opposite of needy energy. It is the energy of I have this all. I am attractive. I am sexy. I know I'm desirable. And the moment you can tap into that energy, things start to shift and change. So I want you to play around with this. Let me know in the comments how you feel, and if anything has changed. We love to hear it. And if you're ready to take these tools to the next level and really start unlocking some things in your life, we have programs for that inside the Goddess Academy. We also have amazing free resources inside the Goddess Academy. If you haven't joined the free membership, there is loads to get you connecting with your true power. And of course, the visualization that I mentioned. So girl, start connecting with your sexiness, because you are hot and you need to remember it. You are sexy. You are a goddess. That is what the Goddess Academy is all about. Think about a goddess. What energy does she hold? Let's start unlocking that energy within you, because it is the most powerful energy. It is the most powerful energy there is. Feminine energy, sexy energy. You hold that, and it is time to unleash that energy and to feel and embody that energy, so that you can start creating everything that you desire. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope to see you in the next episode. And please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comments about this podcast, or if you want me to dive deeper into any of these topics. See you in the next episode.